We're practically swimming in data these days, right? But here's the thing. Raw data, by itself, is kind of useless. The real magic, the real power, comes when we turn that data into insight, and then turn that insight into smart decisions. So today, we're going to jump into one of the coolest tools for doing exactly that in Python, the Pandas library.
Okay, so let's imagine for a second that you run a bookstore. You've got sales records, customer info, inventory lists. It's all there, but it's just a big, chaotic digital pile. So how in the world do you take that whole mess of information and actually figure out what's going on in your business?
And yeah, this is what that mess looks like in the real world. See all the issues here? You've got missing ages right there, marked as NaN. The genre column, that's all over the place. Sci-fi here, science fiction there. A computer sees those as totally different things. This is the reality of raw data. It's almost never clean and ready to go.
Our goal is to bridge that gap, to go from all of that digital noise to a clear, actionable strategy for our bookstore.
And this is what's on the other side of that bridge. I mean, look at that. A super clear, simple chart that tells you exactly which genres are popular with different age groups. Now that's something you can actually use to make decisions. So the big question is, how do we get from that messy table to this insightful chart? Well, it all starts with the hero of our story, the Pandas data frame. This is our main tool, the workhorse we're going to use to organize and play with all our data. So what exactly is a data frame? Well, the easiest way to picture it is like a spreadsheet on steroids. It's got your classic rows and columns, just like you're used to seeing, but here's the kicker. You control it all with code. And that makes it incredibly fast and super powerful. So where does the data frame fit into the grand scheme of things? Think of it this way. You've got spreadsheets, right? They're familiar, they're visual, but man, can they be slow and clunky. Then you have databases, super powerful for sure, but they can also be pretty rigid and complex. The Pandas data frame just lands perfectly in that sweet spot right in the middle. You get the flexibility of a spreadsheet with the raw power of a database, all right there in your Python code. Now, before we can ask any fun questions, we have to do what is probably the single most important job in data analysis. We've got to clean the data. This whole process is called data wrangling. And trust me, it's where we turn that absolute mess into something we can actually work with.
And this is so critical. You've probably heard the old saying in data science, garbage in, garbage out. It is absolutely true. If your data is flawed, any analysis you try to build on top of it, well, it's going to be flawed too. Making sure our data has integrity isn't just a suggestion, it's the foundation for everything else.
Okay, let's go back to that missing age we spotted earlier. A really common technique here is to just fill in that blank spot, that NaN, with the average age of all our other customers. And just like that, with one simple move, our data set is way more complete and ready for analysis.
Wrangling isn't just about cleaning either. It's also about making our data even better. For instance, we have the sale price and the cost of each book, but what we really care about is profit, right? Well, with Pandas, it's super easy. We can create a brand new profit column by simply subtracting the cost from the price for every single sale. It's a fantastic way to create new, valuable information from the data you already have.
All right, so our data is clean, it's consistent, we've even added to it. This is where the real fun starts. Now we get to ask it some interesting questions. Let's kick things off with a very real business question. Let's say we're thinking about running a promotion for our younger readers. The first thing we need to know is, who are our sci-fi fans under the age of 30?
And bam, there's our answer. With just one simple command, we can slice through our entire data set and pull out only the rows that match our criteria, age under 30, and the genre is sci-fi. This cool trick is called boolean indexing, and it's basically like having a super-powered search filter for all your data. Okay, let's level up. How about a more complex question? Instead of just looking at individuals, let's start looking at groups. What if we want to understand the spending habits based on someone's job? What's the average minimum and maximum spend for programmers compared to, say, designers?
And this right here is the magic of grouping. With basically one line of code, Pandas can zip through all our sales data, group everything by job title, and then spit out these summary stats for each group. Seriously, in a split second, what was maybe thousands of rows of data becomes this tidy little table that shows you clear patterns. This isn't just a summary, it's a gold mine. You could use this to build marketing campaigns targeted right at your biggest spenders.
In the real world, data is never that simple. It almost never lives in one perfect, tidy file.
It's usually spread out all over the place, in different tables and different systems. So our final act is all about bringing it all together.
So picture this. We've got one table with all our customer info, their name, age, job title. And then we have a totally separate table with every single purchase they've ever made. The big question is, how do we link a person to their shopping history?
The answer is something called a join operation. The first thing you do is look for a column that's in both tables, a common key like customer ID. Then you just tell Pandas to merge them, matching up the rows that have the exact same customer ID.
And check it out, here's what you get. One big, beautiful table where every single purchase is linked directly to the customer who bought it. Now we have a complete 360-degree view of everything. This is absolutely essential for doing more advanced stuff, like building a recommendation engine, or figuring out who your most valuable customers are over time.
All right, let's wrap this up. We've gone on quite a journey, haven't we? From a messy, confusing pile of data all the way to a clean, connected data set that's packed with insights.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, you can see that Pandas is this amazing tool that lets you do it all. It lets you take messy, real-world data and get it into shape. It lets you ask really specific, complex questions without writing tons of code. You can group your data to find those patterns that were hiding in plain sight. And of course, you can pull together data from all over the place to see the whole story.
And that brings us to the final step, and honestly, the most important one, which is now up to you. Look, we started with just raw data. We turned it into useful information. Then we analyzed that information to find clear patterns. So now that you can see these patterns, what's the next big question you're going to ask to really drive things forward?